Good morning and good evening in Kenya, good morning in Canada and the rest of the world. We are here today for our weekly Facebook live sessions with our farmer number one. As we had told you last week or 2 weeks ago, we were going to interview a farmer called Mr. Bet, but today we didn't get Mr. Bet, so we're going to get to interview Mr. Jacob Carter, whom we consider to be our most important farmer and farmer number one. So we welcome all your questions. We are live now. Mzee Jacob, you can say hi to the world.
Hi, as she has said, my name is Jacob Carter, a resident of Nandi Hills.
You can start by telling us your experience in tea farming.
Thank you. I've been in tea since 1975. I was initially employed by a company, a multinational company called Eastern Produce Kenya Limited, and I served them until 5 years ago when I retired, and I have since continued with small-scale farming. This is particularly on tea, though I'm a mixed farmer, but I have more emphasis on growing tea.
Paul says, nice to meet you. And what do you like most about growing tea bushes?
I like tea because it's a crop that can sustain a farmer. It's a crop that you don't have to regularly uproot and replant. It's a once in a lifetime crop planted, and it grows very well in the conditions that are here in Nandi. We are about 0.2 degrees north of equator, so it gets all the necessary climatic conditions that allow for vegetative growth.
Okay. Daniel says, hello, Mzee. How has the weather been this season?
Hello. And the weather in Kenya has been exceptionally favorable for tea. Normally, at this time of the year, we get into a dry season, but for this particular year, we're still getting some rains. We have even had some rain this afternoon, and therefore we will get into December and January with reasonable crops.
Okay, what kinds of tea do you make? Or do you plant?
In Kenya, it was started with a tea which was from seedling tea, but by the time I grew tea, the development that had been done by the Tea Research Foundation, I raised tea from vegetative material. These are cuttings, and I have two particular clones which are ideal for Nandi, and that is a clone C12 and TN143. I do have others, but in smaller quantities, but the greater part of the farm has C12 and TN143.
Okay, and where is Boaz today?
Boaz is struggling in some other place. I think he's in Nairobi.
Boaz, you can come up for air and tell us where you are. Do any animals live in the tea gardens?
When we talk of animals, we are not talking of domestic animals, but for other types of wild animals, one would get a few rabbits or smaller animals like snakes and as I said, mainly rabbits.
Are the rabbits used as a meal?
Not common in Kenya. Nobody really, except for very few farmers, who keep rabbits, but generally people are dairy and goat farmers.
Are there any monkeys?
Yes, a good number of monkeys in forest edges, and they have no damage on tea. They don't eat leaves. They they're just in the forests.
Do you use any herbicides on your tea or pesticides?
Kenya is a very lucky country, particularly this part of the district, Nandi. We are fortunate in that we have no pests of economic significance in Nandi. So nobody uses pesticide in tea. The thrips, which is a more common insect which sucks the leaves in fairly dry weather, disappear as soon as the rains come. So nobody really sprays any insecticide on tea.
Okay, and Nicole Lafond says hello from all the Lafond family in Winnipeg.
Hello to you all.
Daniel James White says we had such fun time in New York at the fancy food show. What was your favorite part?
I liked the warm reception of you ladies and gentlemen whom I met, and I think it was very exciting to see what the other parts of the world do, how they farm, and they were very, very warm people. There was, of course, very little tea, but I did visit some Indian stalls, and what pleased me most was that though they have moved for very many years into the tea business, I could see that we are not very many strides away from catching up with them.
Okay, and someone is asking, does the presence of rabbits and monkeys mean environmental management is observed?
Yes, in a way, because nobody really hunts for these particular animals for anything. They are not good in terms of food for the community, so they don't really have any need of hunting for them. Secondly, the tea bushes, when fully grown, becomes a problem for any hunter, or even with dogs. They get it as a very challenging thing to move through the tea. So rabbits are happily.
Okay, we have 2 more minutes. Tell us about purple tea farming.
Purple tea farming was introduced in Kenya a few years back. This was a challenge that the tea farmers had put to the Tea Research Foundation, that they wanted the Tea Research Foundation, which is supported by the farmers' accounts through deductions from the tea board, that they wanted something that was more exciting, of commercial value to the farmers, unlike the previous thoughts that the research station had, where they were trying to get their degree papers, but finding out the details of the existing tea. So the Tea Research Foundation was challenged to come up with something that would be of benefit to the farmers. And luckily they developed the purple tea. It's taken them 25 years, and the tea was released to the farmers just a few years back. They are still young at this stage, but a few farmers or a few factories have gone into processing this tea, which is said to be more rich in anthocyanins.
Okay, I think everyone has asked all the questions that they had wanted to ask. And thank you, Mr. Carter, for giving us a very wonderful interview. And Paul says he's looking forward to when you can share tea stories together again over a cup of hot chai.
Welcome, Paul.
Asante sana, Paul. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch up next week on Saturday. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, and finally,
No.
there is farmer number 2.
I'm not.
Bye.
Bye.
Paul says hi.